Vice President Kamala Harris is poised to make possibly the most important decision of her political career, who her running mate will be in the race for the White House. According to two sources familiar with the plan, Vice President Harris is expected to formally announce her running mate tomorrow before the two appear at a rally together in Pennsylvania. It'll be the start of a 5-day blitz through battleground states. Later tonight, Harris is expected to officially become the Democratic Party nominee for president after securing enough delegate votes. And oh, by the way, the election exactly 3 months away. Let's bring in NBC News White House correspondent Aaron Gilchrist, and with me in studio is NBC News correspondent Vaughn Hilliard. Aaron, I'll start with you on the Harris campaign. They're zeroing in on 6 finalists for running mate. The vice president met with 3 of them, we think, separately yesterday. That's according to a source familiar with the meetings. What do we know about where things stand right now?
Okay, right now the vice president is at the White House behind me. President Biden has called a meeting of his National Security Council, and so she's working in her official capacity as vice president to meet that responsibility to talk about what's happening in the Middle East these last several days in particular. But we know that she spent the several days before today really hunkered down with her team trying to make a decision about who is going to be her running mate. As you noted, a source tells us that on Sunday she met in person with several of the potential candidates here at the Naval Observatory, her home official residence here in Washington. They were Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Those meetings were all held separately, and the vice president really is trying to narrow down this choice because, as you said, she will tomorrow announce who her running mate is going to be. Sources tell us that likely will come in the form of potentially a social media post or some other sort of digital video, as we'll be working to figure out who exactly that is before we see them together on the ground in Philadelphia and then rolling out across the country, across battleground states, really as an opportunity for people to get to know both Vice President Harris, who is the candidate, and her running mate, who the nation will need to get to know in order for them to win in November. It's worth noting, too, Kate, that we know that Governor Walz and Governor Andy Beshear of Kentucky, also a person who's on that short list, both have Harris for President or Harris Victory Fund events that they're holding today. Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg is scheduled to be in Maine tomorrow and Wednesday. So it would imply that he wouldn't be or couldn't be at an event with the vice president in Philadelphia, although, Kate, schedules change as things change.
Right. Never say never, right, Aaron? Vaughn, let me turn to you in the Trump campaign. So we just got word that J.D. Vance, the vice presidential candidate, will be in Pennsylvania doing an event tomorrow. Sounds like counter-programming to me.
It absolutely is counter-programming, and this is where J.D. Vance can be of help to the Trump campaign by going on the road and having sort of these counter-programming events. Donald Trump, we should note, does not have a rally or any public event planned until all the way Friday night, and not one in one of the 7 battleground states, but in the state of Montana, where there is a big Senate race on hand here. And so J.D. Vance kind of the one doing the work on the ground right now, while Donald Trump is kind of holding firm at Mar-a-Lago. He did just do a YouTube streamer live event from Mar-a-Lago, but a little different contrast.
And Vaughn, the former President Trump is saying he's not going to do an ABC News debate, but now proposing one on Fox, right?
Right. Back when Joe Biden was at the top of the Democratic ticket, the two of them had agreed to a September 10th debate on ABC. Now with Kamala Harris atop the ticket, Donald Trump said that he doesn't want to do the ABC interview. Instead, that he says that he negotiated with Fox to do a debate on September 4th, 6 days earlier. Both sides, they are holding their ground, saying that they are going to show up at those respective debates, whether the other person is there or not. So it's an open question mark whether we actually ever get a Donald Trump-Kamala Harris debate, and of course, whether there is a J.D. Vance debate against whoever this potential Democratic running mate is.
Aaron, can I go back to you for 1 second on that note, on the debate? I think Vice President Harris has said that she will debate any place, anytime. Is that right?
Well, that was what we heard from former President Trump. Anytime, any place was what he said when Joe Biden was still the person assumed to be the nominee. The vice president has said that the team, the campaign that she and President Biden were both a part of, and now the campaign that is hers, agreed to that September 10th date, and that she will show up for the ABC debate. Even if she's the only one there, and she'll answer questions without the former president present if he doesn't show.
All right, Aaron Gilchrist, Vaughn Hilliard, thanks to you both. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.